पूरख विदाते सरदा मन के पूरे नानक दास यह सुख मांगे मुख कर संतन के दूरे। अंतर्जामी पूरख विदाते।
Yeah, I'm gonna take the music down and we'll get started. I was looking for my co-host, but I don't see her just yet, so we'll get started. And let's see. Good morning. I'm just going to clean my glasses. It helps me, and I'm surprised how they get dirty so easily. It's not like they're leaving my face that often from the time I last cleaned them until now, but there we are. Okay, the better to see you with. Good. Good morning. Thanks for popping in. Nice to see you guys. Okay, so we're going to use the Gayatri mantra this morning. Let me see if I can give you a picture of that right now as we get started, because I had it up before. And then you'll be able to see it on the screen. Share. Basic. Okay, is that pretty legible from where you are? If you're on your phone, it might be kind of tiny, but otherwise you can see it all right? All right, great. Thank you, Linda. Good. Okay, let's take a comfortable seat to get settled in. You can rest your hands in your lap and let your eyes close. You did a good job using your inner leadership to come for early morning yoga class today. So already give yourself the acknowledgement of that. And our practice this morning is going to focus on the inner strength of what we call the yoga warrior, which must include things like inner balance, inner strength, discernment, also the absence of wrath, the absence of impatience, the absence of fault finding, the absence of greed. So inner discernment, inner leadership, inner balance, inner clarity, inner strength. So lengthen your spine and deepen your breathing, and just try to sense, how is your body responding to that list of proposed qualities? What happens for you on the inside? And you might listen for anything in the category that yoga calls the 9 obstacles. So for example, if I say for you, the qualities of a yoga warrior include inner discernment, inner leadership, inner clarity, inner balance, the absence of fault finding, the absence of harm, the absence of greed. And inside, if you start to have a feeling of like self-doubt, that's one of the 9 hindrances, one of the 9 obstacles. If you start to have a sense of vacillation or anxiety, will I meet these qualities? Are these in me? That vacillation is also considered one of the obstacles. If you start to have an inner feeling of impulsivity or urgency, that's also considered an obstacle. So see if you can hear these qualities as something that they're already innately within you. And sometimes we have to get the mental and physical debris kind of out of the way to experience them. So we do have to cultivate, but we also have to get the debris out of the way for inner discernment, inner clarity, inner leadership, inner balance. The absence of fault finding, the absence of greed, the absence of wrath. So you can welcome those qualities without veering into self-doubt or vacillation, impulsivity. Also without veering into fatigue or exhaustion, like, oh, I'll never get there. Those are considered some of the obstacles to our progress. So you've already made an effort to be here. You already did the daily early morning chores that require you to be here. So acknowledging that, please bring your hands together in Anjali Mudra. And let's take 3 or 4 long, smooth inhalations, and then use the straw exhale, the one that makes sound, so that you can expel the exhale more completely. Let's do it together. Here's the inhale through the nose. Inhale through the nose. Twice more. Once more. And let your body breathe naturally. And we'll chant together. Chanting is another kind of pranayama. So when you get to the end of the line of the exhale, I'd like you to have the exhale go to the silence and let that silence be there for all of us. So we'll chant together. Please inhale. Om Bhurva Svaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayata. Om Bhurva Svaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayata. Om Bhurva Svaha. Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. Dhiyo yo na prachodayata. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And bow also down towards the third chakra, the chakra for the warrior self. And try to have a sense of confidence that those qualities are in you, the seeds of those qualities exist, and we can cultivate them. Inner discernment, inner wisdom, inner clarity, inner balance. The absence of fault finding, the absence of greed, the absence of wrath. And you may release your hands and quietly open your eyes. And we're going to please come up to standing. Let me shift to the other spotlight. Do this. Okay, so please rise up to standing. We're going to do some vigorous breathing first. So you might need to blow your nose at some point in this part of the practice. You have permission, of course. And so when you set up, let's do the feet hip distance apart and also parallel. I'm just getting my hair clipped so I can tie it back when the time comes. So place your feet so that you're standing in a position of strength. Make fists like this, and we're going to swing the fists back and fly the fingers open. It's a brisk inhale on the way back and a brisk exhale on the way forward. Okay, let's begin. Keep going. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your arms swing until they're still. Now take a deep inhale through the nose from the base of the belly up to the top of the heart. And hold the inhale in. Exhale like a straw. Let your body receive the next inhale. Okay, bend your knees, sit down into your hips, make your fists. We're going to repeat that. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your arms swing until they're still. Stand up tall. Inhale from the base of your belly up to the top of the heart. And hold the inhale. And let the next inhale come to your body. And just try to sense, what you're doing is you're expelling that which would get in the way. You're also energizing and revitalizing the cells of your body, the O2, CO2 balance, the experience of the brain, the mind, the heart. You take a stance for the jazz dance warm-up pose. We did some of these practices in our weekend early morning practices too, so these might be review for you, which case you can really deepen your experience of them and your relationship to these practices. So press out with both knees. Allow the hips to come down, but if you're in the hypermobile hip club, please don't go down too low. Keep some tone in the outer hips, sitting bones, and pelvic floor. And then this morning, we're going to go side to side. So as you're going side to side, keep the arms steady, the torso steady. And try to sense where your body needs the extra attention. Any differences between the two inner thighs? When you go side to side, try to keep the heels grounded. So when you're coming over to your right, even if your knee goes in line with your toes, your right heel is grounded. When you're gliding to your left, even if the knee goes over the toes, you've got the left heel grounded. Good. We'll do it a few times more. Make the breath smooth and encourage the movements to also be smooth. Now make the movements ever so slightly smaller. Left to right, smaller and smaller. A little smaller until you become very still in the center of those movements. Bring your gaze down and close your eyes. And focus on the inhale going from the first third of the belly to the mid third of the body and up to the back, sides and front of your heart. And then use the exhale out the tiny cocktail straw, so it's a kind of silent exhale and takes longer and requires a little bit more tone in the lower belly. And then press down into both heels. Rise up to standing. Let's make the feet parallel. And come down to Prasarita Padottanasana. So this is called in English the standing wide leg forward bend. You can touch the floor with your fingertips. And let the head and the torso cascade down like the element of water. And a reminder for those of you who have a primary dosha of Pitta that its components are water and fire, not just fire. So when you come down to your forward bend, let the torso be like that cascade down towards the floor, like a waterfall. Now you can use the inhale to kind of light the fire, like you might light a fire in the high mountains in the early morning to warm up your dwelling. So the inhale can kind of light that fire, but I like the exhale to remind you of the element of water. So that as a warrior, you don't burn yourself out. We're not only comprised of fire, but also of this water element. Good, yeah, very nice. Now place your hands beneath your shoulders and straighten both arms. So you're down in this position, and we're going to take a little side bend by bending the right knee deeply. Come down into your right outer hip, right outer heel. You can walk your hands a little bit to the right. I shouldn't say side bend, it's like a side gesture, kind of like a combination between yoga and football for a moment. Now press into your right heel, come up to center, walk your hands to the left and glide down to the left hip, left outer heel. You can bend the knee so that your knee doesn't really go past your toes and your left heel is still grounded. Press into your left heel, come up and over to your right. You can imagine that you're practicing to become a speed skater. Press into your right heel, come up and over to your left. Press down to your left heel. Inhale, change sides. Press into your right heel. Exhale, change sides. Inhale, switch. Exhale, switch. Inhale to switch. Exhale to switch. Inhale, switching. And last one, exhale, switching, we're going left. And then inhale to center. Let the torso bow towards the floor again like the element of water. And then please bring your hands to your hips, rise up to standing, and step your feet together in mountain pose. And just take notice when you come to mountain, which is comprised of the element of earth. And we know that earth is essential if there's going to be fire. The components of fire, like wood, come from the components of earth. Now I'm going to show you how to make that practice into one where the arms have an action and you're relying on the strength of your legs. So please watch for a moment. We take a wide stance. We come down to Prasarita, but we don't put the hands on the floor this time. Of course, you're always welcome to if you need to. And here's the inhale, like I'm practicing to become a speed skater. And then exhale. Here's my inhale. And the exhale. Okay, let's do it together, and I'll do it from a profile view. So we are using inhale to go one way, exhale to go the other. You could speed that up and use the inhale to go to center, the exhale to go side to side. So come on down to your Prasarita Padottanasana without your hands on the floor. Of course, again, you're welcome to use them if you need to. And here we go on the inhale to the right. Exhale left. Inhale right. Exhale left. Right. Left. Inhale. Exhale. Twice more. Come to center. You may touch the floor and let the torso again turn into a cascade, like a waterfall. Energize the muscles of your legs so you have the quality of the element of earth. And the torso and the breath act like water. When the earth element is more grounded and more stable, we are less likely to veer into things like the self-doubt and the impulsivity and the overwhelm or the fatigue. And when the water element is able to move smoothly and with fluidity, we will feel more flexible, more resilient, more adaptable to our circumstances. So from where you are now, please walk yourself into downward facing dog pose. When you step back into your dog pose, first dog pose of the practice this morning, try to sense where the elements are, the three elements that we've spoken of so far. So earth element, water element, and fire element. So listen for the quality of earth, kind of like in the root system of your arms and your legs. Now, even though you're bringing the breath in and that is air, we're associating the second chakra, the water element, with prana, with vitality. And the prana comes in with your in-breath and is cleared, kind of like cleansed with the out-breath. So sense the inner body's capacity for receiving the breath and for being fluid right now. Good. And then the fire element is you actually heating yourself up from the inside right now, but it's also, the fire element is the capacity for mental concentration, to be steady. Okay, so we're going to take this now through downward dog and plank pose and cobra and so on. So with your next inhale, please come forward to plank pose. And then exhale to Chaturanga Dandasana. Point your toes. Inhale, roll up Bhujangasana. Lift your heart and your gaze. Okay, exhale, roll down, pranam, curl the toes under. Inhale, plank pose smoothly. Exhale, downward facing dog pose, also smoothly, without any sense of hurry. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale to chaturanga. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, roll down. Exhale completely without urgency. Curl your toes under. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, inhale, plank pose. Keep your gaze between your thumbs. Exhale, chaturanga. The gaze goes onto the floor right below your eyes. Point your toes. Inhale, roll up, gaze forward. Exhale, roll down, gaze just down beneath your eyes. Inhale, plank. Gaze between your thumbs. Exhale, downward dog, gaze back between the heels. One more time, plank pose. Gaze between your thumbs. Chaturanga. Gaze straight down from the eyes. Inhale, cobra. Gaze forward. Exhale, roll down. Inhale, plank. Gaze between your thumbs. Exhale, downward dog. Gaze between your heels and toes. And take 5 steady breath cycles here, please. Enjoy 5 smooth in-breath, 5 steady times for the out-breath. Of course, you may notice the mental qualities that arise. Look for the absence of fault-finding, the absence of greed, the absence of wrath, the quality of inner leadership, inner encouragement. And then as you next exhale, lightly touch your knees down. Reach for a block to sit in. Vajrasana. I also call this Zazen, which means you're sitting as if you were sitting on a meditation bench, a little Zen meditation bench. And close your eyes. And listen in for the elements: earth, that which helps to keep you grounded. Water, that which helps to keep you fluid. Fire, that which burns the impurities so they melt away and are discarded. Also that which increases your mental concentration. Air, that which allows your heart to express itself beyond the geography of your physical reach. The element of ether, the space between the organs, the space between your thoughts, the space that we co-occupy here on this immense planet. So we'll take this now into the full sun salutation. I'm going to recommend that you have 2 blocks this morning. If you don't have them, of course, I understand. If you do need to get yoga props, you can just check our website. There is a drop-down menu there, and it does include a place to purchase some yoga props. And I researched it for you so you don't have to scroll through the link goes to a website. You don't have to scroll through all the yoga clothing to get the yoga props. Can you bring your hands together, please? When you stand upright, right now beginning your Surya Namaskar, try to sense the virya. That means that your commitment to being a warrior. Virabhadrasana 1, Virabhadrasana 2, Virabhadrasana 3. Virya means vigorous effort, in a discerning direction. Our first sun salutation will be a long, slow Ujjayi breathing. Then we'll go to a forceful exhale, then we'll come back. Inhale, hands down, wide and up. Beautiful. Yes, and then exhale, chair pose. Very nice, yeah. Okay, inhale, push down to rise up like a warrior. We do need to reach. And then exhale, bow forward. We also need the inner humility of warriors. Inhale, glide forward through your heart. Exhale, left foot straight back. Inhale, crescent lunge. Breathe low belly, mid belly, upper back and heart. Exhale, Ujjayi exhale, touching the two blocks. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, right foot back. Complete the exhale slowly. Inhale, low belly, mid belly, heart, upper back. Exhale to descend, also slowly. Use the full length of the exhale. You are not in a hurry. Put the blocks aside, downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, forward to chaturanga. Inhale, bhujangasana, cobra pose. Exhale, roll down. Plank pose. Downward facing dog pose. Exhale completely and enjoy the in-breath. Now a slow exhale, Ujjayi. And a slow inhale, Ujjayi. Exhale, step the awkward foot forward first. Step the other foot forward during the exhale and find your way to Uttanasana. Inhale, the heart glides forward. Exhale, bend both knees. This is the bottom half of chair pose. Inhale, chair pose. This time, exhale, push down to rise up. As you look up, then inhale, open your chest and your heart and your arms. And exhale, Anjali Mudra. Notice the temperature of your body, the fire, water, earth elements, your breath rate, the air element, any possibility of space between your thoughts. Now we're going to use virya, vigor. Okay, so let's use the inhale. It's going to make a sound like, and the exhale, like that. Okay, so inhale, arms up, chair pose, rise up, Uttanasana. Inhale the heart forward, left foot back, rising up, down, step forward, right foot, rise up, down, downward dog, inhale, chaturanga, cobra, down, plank, downward dog. Long, smooth inhale. And a long, smooth exhale. Notice the lungs are a little bit inverted right now. Can you exhale with more kindness, more patience, more discernment in the deep low belly up towards the solar plexus? Now with your next long exhale, step the other foot forward first this time. And take the second foot forward. So you'll be finishing your Uttanasana as you complete the exhale. Then inhale, glide your heart forward. Smooth inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. Enjoy the luxury of the exhale breath. Inhale, chair pose. Now exhale, push down to rise up slowly, as if you were sprouting in the garden. And then inhale to open to a back bend. Heart, arms, chest. And exhale to Anjali Mudra. Let yourself stand very still. Invite yourself to become stillness. Excuse me, to become stillness. Okay, now we will practice slow sun salutation one more time using Ujjayi. So inhale the hands down, and it's low belly, mid belly and back waist, heart, upper back. Exhale, chair pose. Complete the exhale. Use the strength of your deep low belly. Inhale, push down to rise up, bringing in the vitality of prana with the in-breath. And then exhale and slowly bow forward. Take your time to complete the exhalation. Use the belly muscles just above your pubic bone. Inhale, glide forward. Exhale, left foot back. Inhale smoothly, lower third of the torso, mid third, upper third and heart. Gaze up. And exhale, arms wide. Come slowly with a deep sense of patience. Inhale, step forward, heart forward. Exhale, right foot back. Inhale, first third, middle third, upper third. Gaze up. And exhale slowly, really taking your time. You could imagine you're moving in water that you don't want to disturb. Inhale, step back, downward facing dog. Let's exhale in downward dog pose to give yourself a chance to sense as if you're moving through water that you don't want to disturb. And then exhale and glide forward to Chaturanga Dandasana. You are passing through plank pose on your way down. Point your toes. Inhale, glide up, Bhujangasana. And exhale, glide down. Inhale, plank pose. And exhale, downward facing dog pose. Enjoy a long, smooth inhale. And then exhale, touch your knees down. Uncurl your toes. Bring one block in for child's pose. Having a block under your head in child's pose may have a couple of benefits if you haven't explored it before. So a couple benefits: the head won't be lower than the heart, so the upper back will be less inclined to be rounded. The throat more inclined to stay a bit open. Sometimes we have this forward computer head position in our child's pose. Also, for some of you, your hips will drop more easily to your heels when you have support for your head in your child's pose. And then the upper back muscles and the shoulder blades can melt a bit more easily. You know, the tension that we carry between the shoulder blades, the neck, and the base of the skull. Okay, so I'm going to ask you now to walk your hands back towards your knees. And I'm going to demonstrate here. So to give you a good view of this, let me turn my mat on a diagonal. Okay, so this is the part of class where I was saying in the beginning that the warrior is discernment and clarity and we could say stamina and so on and so forth, but it's also balance. So this is a balance sequence. I'm going to put one block here for my foot. If you have 2 blocks, you can try it that way. You don't need 2 blocks, so I'm going to put this one here. For those of you who don't have 2, I'll show with only 1. And I did put the block on the flat setting because I want that to be stable. The medium setting is going to be unstable. And so I'll put my right foot up and you can watch the demonstration. So here's the beginning. This knee comes up, both arms come up. When I'm going to step backwards, I bend the right knee, a little bit like Karate Kid. The 2 knees are passing, and the right hand and left leg both reach back. So this is also a moment of balance. And you'll take the left toes to the floor, mount the big toe, inner heel, and then we'll rise up to Virabhadrasana 1. So when we come up to Warrior 1, then I'm going to ask you to hook your thumbs and to really reach up. So this is a back bend for the heart. And then we'll have this position. And we'll reach back up. And then we're going to be stepping forward, and I'd like you to use a downward sweeping gesture of the arms as you're raising the back knee up. So it's kind of like Karate Kid again. So let's put your right foot on a block, please, like this. Good. There is a chat, but I don't have a co-host today, so it's hard for me to see, to read and teach at the same time. Oh, so you'll get to develop a little bit more. Yes, Allison, I totally agree. The carpet is more wobbly. One of you in this class has put a plywood board on top of your carpet, and she has a stable surface because of that plywood, but yeah, I get that. Also, the bathroom tile might be more stable than the carpet, I understand. Okay, so standing on your right leg, please. Bring your left knee up. Raise your arms up. Choose a place right now where your gaze is going to focus for each time that you come back. Okay, let's inhale through the nose, please. And then exhale, begin to bend your right leg, lower your right arm, left leg, and come into a moment of balance right here. Notice where your gaze lands. Memorize that spot too. And then take left big toe, mount the big toe, inner heel. Now, root your tailbone, raise your chest and your heart and your right arm. Please hook your thumbs. When you hook the thumbs, lift up with your shoulder blades, wrap them around the sides of your rib cage. And then exhale, pull the elbows down, lift your heart up, open your throat. Inhale to reach high. Hook your thumbs. And then begin on the exhale, the journey of coming forward. So both arms will lower, and you're going to bring your left knee up. And then pause. The left leg can dangle. It's okay to stand on your right leg for a moment. We're going to repeat that, and then we'll bring it to tree pose the next time that we pause. Okay, so raise your left knee high. Find the place where your eyes are focusing. Inhale, both arms up. Okay, be steady in your right butt. That is part of your balance system. Your right glutes, your right abductors, the tiny muscles called the deep six. And then as you exhale, begin the process of coming down with your right arm, bend your right knee, take the left leg back. So the left side of the body acts like a long arrow. And then left big toe, mound the big toe, inner heel, and then reach up high, Virabhadrasana 1. Please hook your thumbs. Listen for that in you to which you aspire to grow. Then breathing in, when you exhale, bend your elbows, raise the chest and heart more. Inhale to go back up. And with your exhale, lower your arms, come forward, raise your left knee. And then use your left hand to place your left foot in tree pose. And then join your hands together. And your left foot can go along the inseam of your right leg, really anywhere that supports your tree pose. Be intelligent about that. You wouldn't put your left foot on the inside of your right knee. Find your balance. Your right butt is a part of your balance again. Your gaze is a part of your balance. Your mental concentration. The absence of fault finding. The absence of greed. The absence of wrath. And place your hands on your hips and release your left knee forward. Step your left foot back and down. Let's step to mountain pose and see what it feels like to have 2 feet on the ground again. You might notice like a little feeling like you're on an ocean, a little swimmy feeling, but that should settle and to become more grounded. Let's do the other side. So you can put your block over on the left side of your mat if you have only one. If you had 2, you probably had them set there, so you can step to your left block and bring your right knee up, please. Firm the left hip, including the outer hip and the tiny muscles right in here called the deep six. You raise both arms up high. Focus your gaze. For me, it's a pink quince blossom right outside my window. That's what I'm gazing at. Okay, and then we're going to slowly, you bend the left knee, lower your left arm and your right leg so the right side of the body becomes like a long arrow. And then big toe, mound of the big toe, inner right heel. Now raise your chest and your heart and your left arm. Please hook the thumbs, reverse them. Listen for that to which you aspire in your heart, in humankind, in your inner warrior. Then you exhale, pull the elbows down, enjoy a back bend in the upper back. And then inhale, raise your arms high. And as you exhale, start looking forward. Lower your arms down and sweep yourself up with your right knee. And then pause. Let the right leg just dangle for a moment. Keep your hips level. So when the right leg dangles there, the right psoas is having the weight of the right leg to say, oh, let's let that go. Whatever tension in the right psoas might be there. Okay, second round. Bring your right knee up, bring your arms up. Okay, breathing in, And then exhale, begin. Bend your left knee. Take the left leg back. Right leg back like a long arrow. And then right big toe, mound of the big toe, inner heel, rise up, Virabhadrasana 1. Hook the thumbs, reversing the hook of which thumb is behind. Listen for the inner back bend of the upper back and heart. Exhale, bend your elbows, a little deeper back bend. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, glide forward. Both arms are going to come down and float yourself onto your left leg, right knee up. And then use your right hand to place your left heel high, high, medium, or low for tree pose. Notice the quality of mental concentration, the steadiness of the eyes. Yes, your left leg, your outer hip, the outer butt, those are part of your balance system too. That's like the earth element there. Breath as the element of vitality, like water. The fire of concentration. The air element lets your heart qualities reach out beyond your personal practice. And we're going to step down to mountain pose, so 2 feet back on steady ground. Notice the feeling of coming back. Might feel a little like you're standing on a boat. That boat might have a gentle rock to it, but it should settle out. Okay, and please take your block to sit on in Vajrasana. So that means Zazen again. Also in yoga, we call it Virasana when we sit between the heels. So you could use that name for this pose. I put the block underneath. The block looks like this under my hips. Okay, rest your palms face down against your thighs. Close your eyes. And without doing anything in particular, try to observe the many little actions that are happening inside you. You might have to use fantasy or imagination a little bit, but you can sense a kind of conduction of energy or circulation or innervation. You might call it prana, you might call it the blood supply, you might call it the nerve pathways, you might call those meridians. Just try to sense what's moving inside. And keep observing. So you're watching actions that are occurring within you, that are happening on your behalf, and that you're not actually the conductor of. You're like a member of the orchestra. Right? You're also in the audience. You're witnessing it. But it is happening. This is why in yoga we try to say at the third chakra, actions are occurring, but we are not the doer. Actions must occur. We participate, but we don't take ownership. We don't become the doer in those actions. Okay, now we're going to go back to a spine twist from, I think it's 2 weeks ago. So I'm going to put this block aside so that my hips are down near my heels. Now, everybody has a different capacity for child's pose, I understand. Let me put myself a little bit on the side view for you. Not all knees are what they once were. Some of you have knee replacements, and that's phenomenal. My mother has 2 of them. I have a hip replacement, so yoga goes on. But what I'm saying is in this twist, for having the hips on the heels, that's actually beneficial. So rearrange as you need to for yourself. What we're going to do here is come down. So when I come down like this, I'm going to then be wanting some configuration that looks like this. And I personally prefer to add the block right here. So I've crossed my right forearm on the front of the mat. The left hand goes on the block, and the twist is really in the upper back. Okay, so let's make that, I'll show you straight on again so you can see both angles. So come down and let's put the right forearm parallel to the front edge of your mat and place a block under your left hand. Let the hips get heavy towards the floor. And then as you exhale, twist your upper back to your left. You may also turn your gaze, but try to keep your hips heavy so the pelvis isn't actually what we're twisting right now. We are trying to twist the upper back. Let's imagine that on the right side of the upper back, the right shoulder blade kind of drapes down towards the floor, but the right elbow is firm, pressed down firmly. Now the left shoulder blade is trying to make the twist so there is an action right underneath your left shoulder blade. Press your left hand firmly down and roll your left shoulder blade into your upper back and your rib cage. Now take the block that's under your left hand and make it taller like this and press down. It's going to change the dynamic of your twist. And then if your body would like to, take your right elbow and move it halfway towards the block. So your right elbow might right now be between the 2 knees, about halfway to the center line of your pose, really. And then take your right elbow and move it as close to the block as you like, or in front of your left knee. Keep the left hand firm on the block. And notice that the right shoulder blade can kind of drape down towards the floor, but your right elbow is firm. The left hand and left shoulder blade have to be firm. Allow your head to explore where it feels most comfortable. You could choose to look down towards the floor. And then press into the block with your left hand. Roll yourself up to kneeling and try to notice the experience left to right there in the hemispheres of the body, front to back, left to right, upper back to lower back. And then for the other side, so bring your left forearm across the front of your mat. Take your right hand to the medium height block to start and begin with the twist, the most gentle version of the twist, where you've got this downward pressure on your right hand on your block. And the right shoulder blade is active, the left shoulder blade is melting, but your left elbow is strong. Listen for how the breath can expand within you, even in a twist that has this kind of compression on the abdomen. So the breath may be back waist, sideways a little bit more. Let's put the block under the right hand up to the tall setting. And then you might choose to move your left elbow about halfway towards the block. Again, you can choose to have your head where you most appreciate, and you can even change that up. You can look down, you can look sideways, you can explore. And if you'd like, you can cross your left elbow even closer to the block. Try to keep the hips heavy so they're back there and they're relatively still. And the movement here is in the upper back, the back of your lungs, your heart, your shoulders. And then press down into the block under your right hand and come back up to kneeling. And let things kind of equalize. I'd like you to reach for a blanket. Let me get one that's has a varied color relative to my mat. So please take a blanket and unwind it like this. Okay. So now you're going to fold the blanket in half, and then I'm going to ask you to be thoughtful about this. I'm going to have you fold it in thirds. So I do it like this. I hold the blanket and I go 1/3, and then I fold the top third back like that. So this is a very narrow blanket, more narrow than when we fold it just in half. It means it's also a little bit thicker in terms of being up from the floor. And I'd like you to, you're going to use this for the upper back first and then for Shavasana. So for the upper back, we go like this. You sit, so that you can put your upper back, shoulder blades right there on the blanket. And you bring the base of the skull long as you touch the back of the head to the floor. And then we'll go to this cactus pose position that we had when we were doing Virabhadrasana 1. So please come down something like this, where the heart is the high point of the pose. We practiced this in a similar way in yesterday's noontime class, but we didn't have the blanket so narrow or so steep. So this may feel different than that. See if you can let the shoulders melt down towards the floor, and consider the concept that yoga teaches, that we are involved in actions. We are stewarding, we are chaperoning, we are midwifing, but we are not the doer of all of these things. And it's not entirely all up to us on our own. See if your solar plexus might soften a little bit with that concept. Sometimes the third chakra, the Pitta dosha, comes into those shadow qualities of fault finding, of greed and wrath, because we misunderstand the doer and the non-doer. So I'll just say again that actions are occurring and we get to participate. We are stewarding, chaperoning, collaborating. Invite the fire dosha and the third chakra to hear this news. And then keeping the heart as much as you're able to relaxed and the solar plexus soft. Please roll to one side. Rise up, and I'll take my blanket, see if I can show you a little bit the diagonal. So when I sit in front of this blanket now, I'm not going to sit snug up against it. I want to scoot a little bit forward so that when I lie backwards, the blanket being a little bit thicker than we normally use, now this blanket is right behind my solar plexus. So the blanket ends where you see my hand. I'm giving you the dissection, but there was a cross section rather of the torso. The blanket ends right there. So it's really at the 12th thoracic vertebrae and not yet on the lumbar vertebrae. And we just take a tiny curl for the head like this. And stretch the legs out. So your head is a little higher than your heart. Your heart has the blanket. And then right here, the solar plexus, there's no blanket underneath this part of the body. So it gets to melt, it gets to relax. This becomes like a water basin for the water element. And turn the palms face up. You're welcome to close your eyes. You don't need to have visual concentration now. And from the skin of the body, begin to soften. Like even allowing the fingerprints, your thumbprints, the tiny skin between the fingers and the thumbs. Allow the centers of your palms to relax. Let the skin on the back of the hands also soften. And let that softening go deeply in towards the muscles and the tiny joints of your hands, your fingers, your thumbs. Allow your wrists to soften, the skin that surrounds each wrist. Imagine the wristbands, releasing any unnecessary tension from the skin to the muscles, to the internal spaces in the wrists. And allow the forearms to begin softening the skin of the lower forearms. And right around that region, the muscles beneath the skin. And the lower portion of the bones of your forearms. Allow your fingers, your thumbs, hands, your wrists, and the lower forearms to be deeply relaxed. And to the middle of the forearms. Allow the skin there also to soften. And for the muscles beneath the skin right there to relax. And even deeply in to the middle of the forearm bones. And come into the forearms closest to your elbows and the elbows themselves. Allow the skin of the elbows to soften. And beneath this region, for the muscles of the forearms and elbows to profoundly surrender. And from your fingertips to your elbows, allow the entire lower parts of the arms to be warm and heavy and very relaxed. And then to the upper arms, beginning close to the elbows. Allow the upper arm skin to start softening from the middle of the biceps down to the elbows. Imagine that also as the lower portion of the triceps, middle of the triceps to the back of each elbow. Allow the muscles to get very heavy inside with relaxation. And then to the upper half of the upper arms. From the middle of the biceps and the triceps up towards the shoulder. Allow the skin to soften. And that softening for the muscles beneath the skin to also soften. And into the roundness of the shoulders themselves. Allow the skin surrounding the shoulder joints to soften. And the muscles just beneath the skin of the shoulders. And more deeply penetrating into the joints of the shoulders themselves. And then allow the skin from the shoulders to the base of the neck. That place across the top of the shoulder blades. From the collarbones over to the shoulder blades. Allow that region to soften. The skin here also deeply relaxing. And beneath the skin there, the muscles. At the base of the neck and across and over to the shoulders. Allow that softening now to include your throat and all the muscles of the throat, front of the throat and the skin, the sides of the neck, the back of the neck, the back of your throat. Invite a deep quality of softening even there. The throat and the neck profoundly at ease. And then include the tongue and the hinge of the jaw. So a deep quality of ease. For the tongue, the hinge of the jaw, the pharynx and the larynx, which create your voice tone. And sensing these regions of the body, some of the organs of action in the human body, as we say in yoga. The arms are organs of action. We also have the function of speech as a part of our actions. And just reflecting on the inner experience you have at this very moment. How might this practice today inform that which you touch, that which you hold, that which you'll embrace? How might this practice influence that which you will be eating, ingesting, and that which you will be speaking? These are very important questions for Pitta. How will this practice influence that which you'll touch and hold, that which you'll embrace, that which you'll be eating, and that which you'll be speaking? You may now lightly wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take a slightly deeper breath in, or enjoy a slightly deeper breath. And then you may bend your knees. And please roll to your side. And then use both hands to come up to sitting. When you rise up to sit, allow yourself to feel the transformation that you've participated in on behalf of your body and your vitality. And please bring your hands together at your heart. Om Bhurva Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. So very nice to be with you. Good job. Yeah.